just a few weeks ago, two very interesting things happened. Thing number one is that I played a game called Worldwide Rush, or the demo of Worldwide Rush, which was set in the British Isles and all about moving people by train, plane, or automobile from one city to another. Thing number two is that Transport Fever 3 got announced, but it's not coming out until 2026. So that got me thinking, what if we combine those things? What if we were to play some Transport Fever 2 on a map that is just the British Isles? Well, that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, if you don't know what Transport Fever is all about, it is relatively simple. It is a game about moving resources from one location to another, with the end goal being that you eventually deliver it to a town or city and you get paid every step of the way. So we're going to be starting here in Northern Ireland, the place I have lived for the majority of my life. And I'm not interested in hearing arguments about what it's called or what one town's called. If you know, you know. If you don't, it doesn't matter. We're playing a video game. I'm going to call the places what they're called on screen. It's just that simple. So with all of that out of the way, we have a few things going on up here that are going to make for an interesting little start for our little transportation company. And I'm going to be specifically looking at this quarry, which is just to the north, west of Dundalk, which is down this way. We can move stone from that quarry up to this construction materials plant just to the northwest of Omagh, and then we can move those materials into Londonderry, which is going to get us some money. The problem with all of that is that the current year is 1850, and well, we're going to be using horses and carts, or I can take a bunch of loans and do some trains kind of early. If we do the horses and carts, though, they have to deal with hills and they will slow down massively going uphill. So we might want to start with that just to make some basic money. And then very quickly, as quickly as we can, I want to expand into trains, specifically going from Belfast. Well, not specifically Belfast, but more from here, the Belfast sawmill. Once we start providing some logs, I'd like to run that all the way down to the Limerick tools factory so we can make some tools for Limerick. We could bring some construction materials from north to south. We can bring some tools back to Belfast. I have so many ideas for what I want to do and how this is going to work, but there are two very important rules. Well, technically one rule that applies to two things. And that one rule is that I'm going to do this somewhat realistically. Now, in real life, there is no bridge that connects the British Isles. If you're taking cargo from, say, Dublin to, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, Liverpool, you're going by boat or you're going by plane. There's no bridge, there's no roads, there's no tunnels, nothing like that. That's what we're going to be doing with this series. We are using boats, we are using planes. That is the only way back and forth. No bridges, no cars, no trains, no buses. That's how it's going to be. So with all of that said and done, let's get to work. I think the best thing we could do here is go ahead and build a new road from this quarry that's going to bring us over towards Omagh and then up to the construction materials plant. So what I'm going to do is try my best to just ever so slightly respect the terrain a little bit. We'll do a nice little curve right here. It is 48,000 to do that, which is a bit more than I would like. It is carving away a bit more of the terrain than I would like as well. Does this game have contour lines? Well, that's not what I'm looking for at all. Is that the contour lines? That's the contour lines. So basically, I'm going to try and respect the topography, and we're going to do our best to keep things as level as we possibly can, which I think is going to mean that I sort of want to try and curve this a little bit, because we can see a contour line in here, and this is going nice and level through that forest. It is going to go down a step to connect over to that road, but honestly, that's okay, and I'm not super worried about that. What we'll do is just bring this road up to about the same level. We're going to be spending a little bit of money to do that, and then we can bring these guys together, and that should be nice and level. It is building up the terrain a bit. It is carving the terrain away a little bit. I am spending more money on these roads than I would like, but it's nice and level, and that's what's important. Or at least it's as level as it can possibly be, which is going to be good for our, well, it's going to be good for the horses and carts. Now this is a bit of a problem. This is not good right here. So what we'll do is take out this road completely. This road is needed to access this facility. So I think the best thing to do really is bring this road all the way back into the forest, bring this guy back as well. And what we're going to do is sort of cut across the contour lines a little bit. Again, spending a bit more money than I would like, but it's going to keep this, again, relatively... I mean, it's a slope. It is undeniably a slope that we're dealing with. It is $64,000, but that's okay. We can deal with that. We have this little connection right here, which is perfect. And what we can do, since we're not really going to be accessing this place all that soon, we'll just go ahead and build a little road that comes straight out here. I'm going to build a little road that comes straight out here to about that spot. And we can curve that corner, connecting those together, a little something, something like that. Now, there is a hill up to that road, but that is going to be better access for this grain farm when we happen to need it. And now what we've done is given ourselves a road that goes from this quarry to Oma, but I kind of want to bypass Oma because what we're looking at here is a bit of a hill in this area, a bit of a hill in here. That's going to slow us down. And as we come through this forest, that's really steep. That is super steep. That is going to bring our horses and carts down from about 11 miles per hour to 2. And on the other side, we have hills going up here. We have hills going up here. Look, it's a very hilly country. This is pretty accurate, to be honest. So we need to be mindful of that and we need to do something about it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and disconnect this road for now. And we're going to turn on the contour lines again, so we can see exactly what we're dealing with. And unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't get better over here. It's still pretty rough. In fact, we're going to take out some of this road as well, because a lot of that's going to need to be redone. We are going to be spending a lot of money to do it. But I think the best thing we could do here is either gradually sort of cut through these contour lines and then through this little valley that we have, or I can keep this level in this space and just go really sharp up those contour lines. I don't know what's going to be. I don't know what's going to be quicker. I want to say the gradual incline is probably what we want to do. So something kind of like this, which is a bit expensive and it is cutting away the terrain, but I think it's going to be for the best. I think that's what we need to do. Now, this is undeniably going to be steep. Unfortunately, it is remarkably steep, but again, not a whole lot we can do about it. We'll bring it back ever so slightly. We will bring a road straight around here, which is nice and level, following the contour lines again. And then this one, similar story. We'll bring it straight through. We're going to try our best to hug the contour line we have here on the left of the road. And somehow, some way, I need to connect this road to this facility, which is going to be tricky because looking at it, that place is up quite high compared to this. So it might be better for me to come in about this level. And then very, very simply, we just do something kind of, well, nasty looking like this. Now, the problem with this is I don't want a bridge. And I can get rid of the bridge. I can do this for 223,000. It's still a hill. It's still going to slow us down, but it's a lot more gradual than what we were dealing with. And I think, honestly, that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, it's so much money to do that, but we can take some loans if we need to. And well, at this rate, we're probably going to need to, but we'll figure that out. This road, I'm going to bring back even further because what I would like to do is get up on this little plateau on the left side. We can go in a little bit more gradually there. It does mean we're going to be going quite steep right here, but I think it's going to be better in the long run. So we're just going to go to about here and then sort of a little gradual incline up this hill if I can get away with it. Now that is carving so much terrain out of there. I don't love doing that. I really don't. I wonder if I brought it back further and just sort of gradually brought it up the side of this hill. Would that be better? It might be. This part of the country, to be fair, has a lot of mountain roads. This is not this is not unrealistic at all for what I'm familiar with in this part of the country. Now this dipping down into the valley, also quite common. I could, if I wanted to, sort of raise that up in the middle and do a bridge right there. I feel like that would be kind of silly. So what I'm going to do, at least for now, is I'm going to leave that as a bit of a gap. And we're going to just start by building this bit of road, which is going to follow that contour line. It's going to need to get up a bit higher to about here, which is fine. I might even go so far as to bring it up even higher again might be an idea. Very, very steep to do that. A lot of money to do that. But it does let us go from here straight into there, which I think is what I'd like to do. 137,000 to do that is a ridiculous amount of money for this part of the game, this stage of the game, but it should be okay. And then to connect these guys together, something like that, 122,000. It does dip down into the valley. We can smooth that out if and when we need to. Alternatively, bulldoze this and just see what that connection would look like. So that's going to be a big old bridge, which is $423,000. I don't know that I want to spend that money on a bridge. I'm going to be honest with you. I think what I'd like to do is just extend a regular little road out here for a second. It's going to go down into the valley. And I guess we are just going to connect from here up to there. 128,000. It's so much money, but it's going to be fine. Anyway, that gives us all the connections we're going to be needing. I spent so much longer on that road than I realistically should have. But what we have now is the ability to go from this mine, this quarry, up to this construction materials plant, and then into Londonderry to deliver the goods, which is very much what I would like to do. But there's another thing we could do here, and it is something I'm probably going to do. We could get some vehicles going from this quarry to the construction materials plant, over through Londonderry down to Belfast, and then back to the quarry. So they do a big loop. The only thing is they'll be running empty from Belfast to the quarry, but for the most part, they'll be delivering materials. And the good thing with doing that is that we're going to be operating on a ratio that's going to allow us to do that. Now, what I mean by that is that this quarry will produce, 1 stone. The construction materials plant needs 1 stone for 1 brick. So it means that if we have a cart dropping off 4 stones at the materials plant, they can pick up 4 bricks and take them out for delivery. So they're not going to be running empty, which is great. Now, my thinking with all of this is that I could use the same vehicles to go from the quarry to the materials plant to Londonderry and then back through Oma. That way they're, the same vehicles are running sort of this little part of the line. They just have to run empty from the city to the quarry. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's worth doing. It would probably be easier for the math involved in all of this. And I'm also realizing I should probably redo this little bit of road and get this connection, because even if I don't do that, we do want a little road connection in here so people can get from this road into Oma itself. And I think we'll do the same thing here. We'll just get ourselves a little road that comes down. That's not the road we're looking for. Little road that comes right down here. We'll go straight through. A lot of money to do it. But again, it's a good little connection to have. It means vehicles can go from Oma to wherever they want to go. And I suppose, speaking of Oma, let's get ourselves a road depot in here. And I'm going to place it right next to the industry. So I'm thinking kind of right in here or right out here might be the spot for it. Can I put it at the end of that road? 22,000. I think I will, actually. I think that's exactly where it's going to go. So that's where we're going to be getting our carts from. But I think first things first, let's create some lines. Oh, wait, no. First things first, I have a couple more things to build. We need some truck stations. This is where we're going to be picking up the materials. Now, the beautiful thing about this is this can be placed a bit of a distance away from something like a quarry. So I could put it around here, and it's still connected. As long as that quarry is highlighted in white, which it no longer is because it's too far away, this will get the materials from the quarry. Over here is 84,000. Oh, it's so much cheaper to build it over there. Interesting. What if we had longer platforms? 190,000. That's a lot of money, but it might be necessary. Versus 2. Yeah. Okay. It's going to be built in here. We are going to need to take some loans, but this is definitely being built in here is what it's going to be. So we'll go ahead and build that truck station right there, and that's fine. We are going to go up here, and man, we don't have a lot of good space to work with right here. It's going to go at the end of this road. I think 245,000 is a lot of money, but that's okay. And then the drop-off points can be a truck unload stop, which is going to make my life a bit easier. Now, keep in mind, we're bringing bricks in here. It's going to be the industrial buildings that want them. I think the best place for this is going to be this road right here. So we might want to extend this road a little bit, have these guys drop off here, and then loop back out. So actually, I think that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll bring this guy down. We're going to bring it straight through there. Too much slope, apparently. We'll go here. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Bring this guy straight down through there, bulldoze you. And you know what? I think we can maybe upgrade this bit of road as well, just so it's all nice and neat. That is a very steep slope, but it is probably better than this one, which I think is even steeper. So that'll be the line that goes into Londonderry and then goes back to, well, I don't know if we're going to do separate lines. That might be the line that goes back to the quarry. That'll be fine. We need a drop off in Belfast as well, though. So if we come over this way, again, it's the industry that wants the goods. Let's do a stop right here in the middle of Belfast. We'll do here, right in the middle, still kind of the middle of Belfast, and that should be okay. And now we can make some lines. So the way this is going to work is we're going to go from here, we're going to go to here, we're going to go into Londonderry, and then it does cut back through Omagh. Do I want to do that? It's the real question. I don't know. It will let me use technically fewer lines and technically fewer trucks. And because we have this beautiful 1-to-1 ratio, it kind of works nicely in that regard as well. I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, if we get rid of that line, these guys will just go back and forth, and that'll be fine. I guess I would need more vehicles on this individual line to... Oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. So I'm going to do the easier one first is what I'm going to do. Line number 1 right here is going to be going from here, from right here to this construction materials plant into Belfast. So it does loop around, which is totally fine. And then it's going to go back to the quarry and that'll be fine. So this is going to be called road cargo. That's what the RC happens to be. It is a line going to Belfast, and it is stone to bricks to Belfast. That's how we're going to know what the line is all about. And we'll make it a red line because that's the first color on the menu. So line number 2 is going to have to go to the annex as well. It is going to be going from the Dundalk annex to the Omagh annex. Or I could, or what I could do is just have, no, we're doing it this way. Maybe overcomplicating this a little bit, but it's okay. We're going to go from here to here and to there. We are going to loop this around. It'll be fine. This will be road cargo. It is technically Londonderry, and it is stone to bricks to, I'm going to do city, actually. That's going to be a little bit easier because it's, fewer characters. And so we'll just do it that way because we already have the name of the place in the name. So it's fine. We're going to do that one in yellow, and that'll be all right. The problem with this is we're still dealing with the hills in Omagh, so we might want to look at a bypass that goes around Omagh on this side as well. We are still dealing with some pretty steep hills in there, though, which is really unfortunate. Actually, a road connection here would be a little better. The vehicles can kind of come in this way, hit this road. This is a bit less steep, is what I'm thinking. That might genuinely be the solution to this problem. Let's have a very quick look and see. How are we looking on this? It is definitely less steep. Now, the problem is that building in the way, 2 buildings in the way, actually. 186,000 to get rid of those. I'm going to do it, is what I'm going to do. It leaves me 155,000, but it should mean, yep, that line is taking the path of least resistance to get through here. That's fantastic news. And we now find ourselves in a space where we can get this up and running with some vehicles. Although I do want to make sure that these lines are doing what I want them to do. So at the Dundalk annex, I want to make sure that we are loading up on stone. At the Omagh annex, we are unloading the stone, loading up on bricks. And then at Victoria Street, that's actually named properly. There is interesting. That's a real place. Yeah, we'll go and unload everything that we need. I would like to say that we have got a maximum stop here of about a minute, or maybe 30 seconds. Let's say about a minute is what we're going to do. And I want this to have a full load of whatever. I want to do the same thing here, maximum stop of about a minute. So that way we don't have the vehicles moving unless they have something on board. They will go after a minute of waiting, but that's honestly okay. I'm not super worried about that. After a minute, they should be good to go. Same thing down here as well. We'll go ahead and get these guys set to about a minute, and that should be fine. Now, all we need are some vehicles. And to do that, since we only have $150,000, I'm going to borrow about $1 million. And then we'll go to the road depot. We'll buy some European horse-drawn carriages. And I think what we'll do is just go for 10 of them to start with. They are going to be red. And they're going on the Belfast line. And then we'll go ahead and buy another 10 of them. We're going to make them yellow. And they go on the other line. And what we should notice, and what we do notice, is that we have a little bit of stone being brought into this this road depot, which is fantastic news. We can speed the game up a little bit and we should see more stone getting loaded in here. And again, that is fantastic news. Now, what we can do is have a look at both of these lines, and we can see that both of them have a pretty low rate at the moment. And the reason for that is because of just how long these lines are. Now, the rate in this situation is the approximate annual throughput per station. And what that means is that every year, the Londonderry stone line is going to move about 13 units of stone. The Belfast one is going to move about 11 units of stone. So the more vehicles we put in there, the more we're going to move. And the bigger the vehicles we put in there, the more we're going to move. The faster the vehicles, the more we're going to move. So as things upgrade and develop, we will move more things, and that's generally going to be the goal. Now, looking at this space, we are producing a good amount of stone, which is fantastic. Our production can be up to 400. We can only ship up to about 100 right now, which is fine. And I think the reason we can only ship up to 100 is because this place can only produce up to 100 right now. So the shipment will increase at the quarry once the construction materials plant upgrades a little bit. And it will upgrade if the production hits this little threshold here, and the shipment hits the threshold, and transport hits the threshold. We have some criteria for this to upgrade. But what we can see is that Londonderry wants 31 bricks right now. We're not going to be achieving that. And Belfast wants 38 bricks. And if there's one thing Belfast is going to want, it is going to be some good quality bricks. All right. So we're going to have to be a little bit mindful of that. But coming down here, we can certainly see that we have all of our little horses and carts moving along. We have the red line right there. There's some yellow line horses and carts right there as well. There should be a bunch more red ones coming through. This is probably going to create a bit of a traffic nightmare down here. But honestly, it's not the end of the world. We will manage. We have more than enough stone in here to be picked up. And what will eventually happen is that once these guys start making deliveries, we will start making money. The only problem is it's going to take forever for these guys to make some deliveries. So I'm going to leave them to it. And I kind of want to go south just a little bit, because it just so happens that Castle Bar happens to want food. And there happen to be 1, 2, 3 farms just around Castle Bar itself. Now, admittedly, these two lower ones, or this one, is a Galway farm, which is all right. We'll not worry too much about that. But what we can do is take grain from this farm and bring it down here to the Limerick food processing plant, and then bring it back up to Castle Bar and deliver some beautiful, beautiful food. There's a problem with that, though. There's a bit of a catch to that particular setup, and that is that we're now dealing with a 2-to-1 ratio. So what that means is that for every 2 grain, we create 1 item of food. The reason that's a problem is that if we use the same line and just 1 line to bring grain from Galway Farm down to Limerick Food Processing Plant, and then the same line to bring the food back to Castle Bar, that line is only ever going to be half full going back to Castle Bar, because we're bringing down 4 grain, we're taking back 2 food. So basically we need to subsidize it with another line is what we need to do, which is fortunate, or well, it's good. It's fine is what I'm getting at. We have another farm over here. My thinking is that basically what we'll do is create a little depot in here to drop off grain from a line that does go from Castle Bar down to here. We'll have a secondary line sort of subsidizing things coming in from this other farm here. That way, let's say we have a rate of 20 on the Galway farm line. So this one from the north coming down to here, we'll create 10 units of food, right? So we have enough trucks, we have enough wagons to move 20 grain. We'll create 10 units of food going back. If we have a secondary line also with a rate of 20, They are going to be creating 10 units of food. That gives us 10 and 10 is 20. So that will max things out and mean that we're moving as much food as we are grain back to Castle Bar. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down, because I'm barely picking up what I'm putting down, but I'm thinking I'm onto something here. And basically what I'm going to do is try my best to connect this all together in a way that doesn't look absolutely terrible, which it turns out is, ooh, that's not so bad. I don't love that little curve on that, but it's not the end of the world. It is $80,000 though, which I'd really like to avoid spending in this particular situation. So let's do just a gentle little curve that goes down here. And then let's just see if I can connect these together. 87,000 again. Oh, I don't love that. Can I lower it down for, yeah, 30,000? Much better. I am willing to work with $30,000 on that little road connection. Now we are going to be doing similar. We're going to need a road connection over here so that this, actually, no, we're not using that farm. Never mind. That farm can be used eventually, but we don't need it right now. What we will do is, ooh, we are dealing with some hills right here, and I don't love it. Let me look at my contour lines. Now this is going to come back a little bit, and we're going to try our best to get this to sort of go kind of through here. That is raising up the terrain a bit, but what we're dealing with now is something that should be relatively level as it cuts through that space. It is taking out some of the terrain, but that's okay. We can kind of follow this. Actually, we can just sort of go in a relatively straight line right here. That is going to be a hill. It's not the steepest though. So I'm not super worried about that, to be perfectly honest. We'll bring this country road over this way a little bit. We will connect it up to Galway right about there for 11,000. And that is perfect. The only thing we're missing is obviously a connection to this guy, which I kind of want to redo because I don't want it to be that steep. That's a little bit much. So let's see what we're going to be working with here, I guess. Let's bring a little bit of road right out in the middle here. Let's bring a little bit of road. Ooh, that's all raised up as well. I don't love that. I do not love that at all. Maybe I can make that work. Maybe we can do something like this. How steep are we looking? That is not ideal, is what that is. I can make it quite cheap though. So I think honestly, I don't like that. This is actually lower than the roads I'm working with over here. You know what? Let's get rid of this idea and let's figure out something else, because that's not going to do it. I suppose this will kind of work. I took a little bit of this road out and just sort of extended things a little bit longer, and that seems fine. I think it's okay. It's not crazy steep, and I'm sort of willing to work with that. The last thing we need to do now though is bring a road through this valley, and I don't want to do a four-way intersection here, so I'm going to go from, where is this most level? I need my contour lines again. I want to say right about here. This looks at the midpoint between where we're cutting away this hill and building up this land. So if we go for here and just sort of come straight out, that is nice and flat, which is great. We are going to be going up a little bit in elevation right here, but that again shouldn't be the end of the world. In fact, if I do it this way, we're spending a bit more money, but we're cutting away some of that elevation, which might honestly be better. What I would maybe like to do though is bring this up to here. So we are going to be dealing with an elevation change, but I can then have this sort of hug that contour line and then link it up with this road around here. And I think that's going to be better. I think it's going to make this journey time a little bit shorter. And I think that's going to be just for the best, really. So bring this guy straight through here. We can maybe cut away about this much of that road, and I should be able to get a decent little curve right there. That doesn't look too bad. A little bit steep, but I'm not super worried about it. That looks perfectly fine to me. We will upgrade this road to match, turn off the contour lines, and that gives us all of the roads that we're going to need for this little production chain. The only problem is we only have $131,000, so let's borrow another $500,000 because we need some things is what we need. We need some things. Now, my thinking with this is that I can get a little bit cheeky because we don't necessarily need Now we can expand truck stations. Okay. We can make truck stations have more platforms. We can give them a bunch if we really want to. And what we could do here is build a truck station that has 2 platforms. So that way the 2 lines have somewhere to go. Alternatively, we can build a truck station with 1 platform, which is a bit less money. And that's good. The other thing we could do is build the truck station up here, which is admittedly a little bit more money than I would like to spend, but it's a little bit less distance for the vehicles to cover. And that's kind of important to me. So I could build it right here for about 109,000, and that's okay. That's going to be the vehicles coming from up north going to this truck station, and it's connected. So it'll work. It'll work with this guy. What we can then do is build a truck unload stop right about here. And that's going to mean I can bring goods from here to this unload stop and go back without even really hitting this road or hitting this intersection. It is going to be a nightmare for traffic. Admittedly, it's not exactly an ideal long-term solution, but it's cheap. And that's what I care about right now. So while we're here, let's put one of these stops in Castle Bar because that's ultimately where the food is going. We only really need 1 truck stop in here as well. So let's do it on the right, I guess. So I think right about there should be fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter where it is. It can go right there. That'll be where we pick up the grain. We then bring the grain down to here and head back out. I think that's everything we need, except for a road depot, which is obviously something else that we're going to need. So let's put the road depot in Galway. We have a bunch of industries over here. We'll put it up there for 11,000. That's actually really, really cheap and perfect for this. And I guess what we do is create. Oh, wait, no, I missed one. We need another truck depot. Totally forgot about this one. Let's see. Where do I want this to go? I could put it in the middle of this facility. I could put it around the corner a little bit just to shave. I could really put it around there to shave off a lot of time in this route. That has me all sorts of tempted. It's a lot of money to build it out here. It is only about 10,000 more than building it over there, though. In fact, we can get it down to, was there a 136 in there? I don't think there was. I think it was 138. We can get 137, and I'm willing to work with that. So that's going to be a really short route from here to there. We're kind of min-maxing things here a little bit. It's not super realistic, but that's okay. Line 1 is going to go from here to there. And it's going to be road cargo. It is, what is this? I guess Limerick is what we're going to be calling this one. So road cargo, Limerick, and it is grain to food. That'll be totally fine. That line is going to be green. And then we need another one that goes from here, that goes down to here, and then goes all the way up to Castle Bar. And that should be fine. That is exactly what we're looking for. Road cargo. We'll say this is a Castle Bar line since it is grain to, grain to food to city. And then it's going to be a blue line, which is lovely. So that gives us the 2 lines down here that we're going to be needing, which is super important. I realize the game is paused while I'm doing all of this as well, which means that none of this is really working right now. In fact, because the game has been paused this entire time, all of my vehicles have just reached here for the first time. They are loading up with construction materials, though, which is great. They're only loading up with like 1 at a time, though, which is less great. Don't love that. Not a huge fan of that, but this one has 4. You know what? They'll figure it out. They'll manage, I think. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if they will, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, looking down this way, let's go ahead and get some vehicles. We're not going to do too many this time. Actually, how much is it for 5 of them? 119,000. We can afford 5 per line. So these guys are going to be green. They're going on the Limerick line. And then we'll grab another 5. We'll get them in blue. And they're going in the Castle Bar line. Now, we shouldn't have any problems with things getting dropped off in places they shouldn't be. I shouldn't need to worry too much about what's going where. I shouldn't have to micromanage that. We do have grain production down here, which is fantastic news. We have grain production up here, which is also fantastic news. And if we look at Castle Bar, they have a demand of 29 right now. The rate on the Castle Bar line is 11. So that's going to be producing 5.5 food per year. The rate on this line is 32, which is going to be producing 16 per year. So that gives us 21.5 food production per year, which is kind of fantastic. It's still not enough to meet the demand in Castle Bar, but it's a good start given that I have absolutely no money right now. And we are, yeah, we owe the bank $3.5 million. So yeah, we can maybe sit back for a moment and let some deliveries happen. In fact, I think we're about to see, do you have anything on board? You have 4 bricks on board. How much do we get for those? $6,400, so $6,500 for 4 bricks. That's nothing. That's nothing. I don't know how I feel about that. I've got to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that at all. Can I move the stop somewhere? Because they're doing that really annoying. I don't like that they're U-turning there. I'm not a big fan of that. I can't believe. Oh, I thought we'd do better than that. It's really no money at all. I could move the stop onto this road, but that is just a big hill that the vehicles have to go up and then straight back down. I think this is probably the best place. This is probably the best place for that stop. It's fine. There's not going to be that much traffic right now, and they U-turn quite quick, so we'll not worry about it. Oh, look how slowly they're coming up this hill, though. 3 miles per hour, 2 miles per hour. Oh, that's terrible. They're coming in here at like 11. They're practically flying. Oh my God. 11 down to 3, 2. I mean, they could be going 1. It could be worse. Oh, 2 is not much better. I mean, it's objectively 100% more than 1, but it's still not good. It's really not good. And then we have these guys out here on the way to Belfast. They should make a bit more money. But if we look at our overall line manager right now, we can actually see both of these technically have made money, which is great. And to be fair, these lines down here should end up making money as well, especially that little quick one from out here into the food processing plants. In fact, I think, are you on the way with a bunch of grain? You absolutely are. Now, the question is, how much money do you make when you drop that grain off? We're looking at 4,715. That's honestly okay, given how quick that is. I'm curious about how much we make when you guys drop off grain. We're going to be looking at nothing. Did you have nothing on board? Is that what was going on there? I guess it might have been. That's slightly concerning. We do have food on board, though, which is good. You have nothing on board there. You have a little bit of food on board, so we should be fine. I think this line down here is probably going to do a lot of heavy lifting for us, to be completely honest. I kind of get the feeling that this one is going to be, I mean, it's only 4,715, but it's already making money, so that's probably okay. I think we'll be all right. We just need to, I think we just need more vehicles, to be completely honest with you. I think that's kind of where we're at. Oh, now this is good news. We do have some food deliveries coming in here. We got 5,518 for 2 units of food right there. This guy has 4 on board, so I'm curious to see how much we get for a full delivery. 11,036. Okay. So the Castle Bar food production line is going to be relatively profitable, is my thinking. The problem is it's just not frequent enough, so I think we take another loan is what I think we do. I think we go to that line, manage the vehicles, we duplicate all of them, so that gives us a rate of 25, which is much better than what we had. I think we maybe go to here, and I want to duplicate this one as well. Now, actually, do I? That's the question. Now, let me look at you. So your shipment is currently 75. Your production is not being maxed out, which is fine. So your production, if it's 100, that means that we would need to be bringing 200 grain in here to max that out, which is a lot. That's a lot of grain. So we might want to consider it. Do I want to duplicate the vehicles on you? Do I need to do that right now? I don't think I do. I think we'll manage. Now, admittedly, Kilkenny over here does want food as well. So if we wanted to, we could sort of just you know, extend this line over to Kilkenny and kind of have a similar setup to what we're doing with Castle Bar. I don't want to do that just yet because we just don't have any money, man. I mean, we do. We have 360,000, but that's not much. I suppose one thing we could look at doing is putting more vehicles on the Belfast Bricks line. These vehicles are already 2 years old. They're not going to be around for all that much longer. But I think what I'd like to do is clone as many of these as I can. I think I can put 10 more on there. Yeah, we have basically no money left, but we now have 20 vehicles on this line, which is completely fine. They are going to be bunched up a little bit coming out of here, but they'll eventually sort of spread out and do their thing, and it'll be a nicely balanced line of vehicles, which is great. We should be able to, yeah, we'll be able to manage this, no problem. I would like to get more vehicles going into to Londonderry as well, but at the moment, I think we're fine. Looking at this construction materials plant, we are shipping like 35% of what the quarry is making. I think that's what that means. Or transporting 35% of the 100 that they're shipping. I think that's more what it means, is we're transporting 35% of what they're shipping to us. Consumers, we are shipping everything, I guess. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but we should see some improvements with a handful more vehicles on the Belfast line at the very least, which is great news. Looking down this way, we have some vehicles heading back here now. This one has 4 food on board, which is great. This one as well has 4 food, and each of those is going to be $11,000. So the Castle Bar food situation is going to be looking good. We should start to see this town increase in size as we bring the food supplies up a little bit, which is great. We should see some changes to Belfast as well as they start getting some bricks, and the same with Londonderry up here as well, which only is 3 out of 37 right now. So we might want to reconsider how we're doing this, to be completely honest. We might want to consider splitting the line in 2. So we have, you know, stone going from here to here. It runs empty to go back, but then we have a dedicated smaller line that goes from here into Londonderry, which might just be better for it. I'm really not too sure what to do with it right now, but I think that's something we can deal with in the next episode. We can start looking at how to improve what we have already, how to make a little bit more money, how to expand our industries, and hopefully we can start looking at some trains a little bit earlier than we usually do when we play Transport Fever 2. It usually takes a couple of episodes. I'd like to have trains either in the next one or the one after that. That's going to be my goal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.